What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and talk about something very important for all Tesla investors as I give you guys my price prediction for tomorrow. And I'm going to talk about the next upcoming weeks for Tesla as well. So this is going to be a very important video, but before I get started, I do have to mention a couple of things real quick. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner, so don't take any of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 10 free stocks, each worth up to $2,500. And you could always sell these 10 free stocks for cash and use that cash to buy some Tesla shares for free. This is a limited time offer. It ends today, so please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So there's something very important I want to clarify when it comes to my previous videos. I mentioned to all of you that I am going to be very cautiously optimistic for Tesla. And I did talk about something important, and that is the fact that there were many news articles coming out talking about how the bear market was over, talking about how, the market is about to go to all-time highs and things like that. And I was mentioning that there are lots of tricks and traps that come out from the bears, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're just going to start crashing overnight. All right. So I want to just clarify that I do see a rejection most likely coming for the markets. I don't think we're going to go to all-time highs on this rally, but the rejection may take a few weeks to actually come. And I still think we have some room to continue on the upside for Tesla and the overall market. So for Tesla, what does this really mean? This means that I could really see this thing pushing up for, a few weeks in August. But my main purpose of making those videos was to inform you that you should not fall for the eagerness you're going to start experiencing. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. You have to be prepared for those big potential rejections that may come in the next couple of weeks. Because if we go back to this moment right here, right, we saw Tesla, the all-time high, 1,243. People were excited. They thought this thing would just keep going. We got a rejection, right? The market was dropping. Then what happened? Tesla pushed all the way up to 1,200. People thought this thing was about to break all-time highs again. And this is what the bears were doing. They almost went into hibernation mode. They tricked people, and then they came back when people least expected it, and they yanked us down. Tesla went from 1,200 all the way down to 700. Then we got another rally. I'm sure you guys remember this as we approached the very end of March up until the beginning of April. Tesla went from 700, rallied all the way up to 1,152. People were excited. They thought the market was going to all-time highs again, and the market was kind of moving in a very collective manner. But all of a sudden, the bears weren't necessarily gone. The bear market was not over, and we saw another big rejection. Tesla dropped even lower. So now Tesla is starting to push up, right? Do I know when the rejection will come? The answer is no. But I do believe, based off the gaps we're seeing, based off the unknown potential catalysts, not to mention the fact that we have September coming up before an election year because we have the midterms coming. September is historically not the best month for the markets during election years. We also have FOMC. So I do think as we approach the next FOMC meeting, if not next, maybe like the last few weeks of August, maybe the last week or so, I do think that's when the switch is going to get flipped. That's when we're going to start to see some downside. But until then, there is more room for upside, in my opinion, and there are some important levels and things you have to know. So Tesla does have a potential stock split very soon. We have the annual shareholder meeting coming up in the next upcoming days. That's going to be good for Tesla because when the stock split comes, this typically leads to really good performances for the markets. And we're seeing lots of articles now coming out right here talking about how Tesla is heavily shorted, but that does not matter that much because there are some catalysts, at least for the temporary short term, that can be very, very big. And I'm going to find this right here. Gary Black tweeted that as of a couple of days ago, Tesla had the stock split potential in August coming out. We have big upgrades for the S&P, which is good too. And we are seeing a delay in that whole Twitter deal. So that whole fiasco is kind of set aside temporarily. And we have big updates coming out for the gigafactories, not to mention the full self-driving technology and bigger things for the later months. For the next year as well. So it's still doing fine, right, as a company. So what does this mean for Tesla in context? So as a Tesla investor, there's one thing I think you should pay attention to, and that is the SPY. The SPY is starting to rally and the market's kind of moving in unison. But what worries me about SPY is this. If I look at the daily chart and we look at the EMAs, the SPY got a nice 1348 EMA crossover. It's looking pretty strong, but the SPY is getting close to this 200 EMA. And this is typically where we see that key resistance. So if the SPY could break 415 and holds that for an entire day and just show lots of strength there, that would be a very bullish sign for the markets. And that would show the market does have some move for the short term to continue pushing up before another potential rejection. Other people disagree. They think that the SPY might get rejected off 415, and we don't really know yet. It could really go either way. Really depends on when the bears decide to step in again. But right now, that's what you have to look out for SPY. Now, I'm mentioning this, excuse me, because if the SPY does get rejected and starts dropping, this could actually kind of make it a little bit harder for Tesla to continue to push up because the whole market could act like an anchor. So even though I think it's a little unlikely, I think the SPY might actually push as high as the 420s and maybe continue from there. It's very possible, but I am, like I said before, very cautious because I know the bears could come back and push these things down at any given moment. Now, what do I think is going to happen to Tesla? Well, considering that 900 is a very psychological level, we have the split coming up, and we still got that 1348 EMA cross. RSI is a little bit on the overbought side, but that has not mattered too much for Tesla considering how this thing has moved historically. If we look at other indicators like our MACD, so far we're seeing some bullish momentum. So I do think Tesla has a little bit more room to keep going, and I do expect to see some bullish price action in that 900 to 925 range. So let me actually close the indicators now just to make this chart look a little bit cleaner because it's kind of messy right now, and I apologize for that. If I bring up the 2 hour chart, you can see this thing has been pushing up. It's been doing some similar things we saw to when this thing was very bullish. And we have a channel forming here where this thing is pushing up even more. It does look like we're going to respect it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see Tesla in the 900s by tomorrow. Like I said, 900 to 925. If we break 925, we have the potential to go as high as 952 and maybe even higher. So temporarily, like I said before, Tesla does have room for upside for maybe this week, maybe sometime after, but be prepared for that potential rejection because I do believe the bears are just taking a break. This is the tactic that the short hedge funds use. They get into your emotions, they make the market turn very greedy, then out of nowhere, they're going to yank it down to make money by doing it that way. This is market makers that are also involved in the options chain. They make money off the spreads and they play retail like a fiddle. I mean, it's the uncomfortable truth. I know people don't like to hear that. And that's why I was very, very cautious. And I think my last few videos were very important for the long term. But like I said before, the rejection doesn't have to start tomorrow. It may take a couple of weeks. So I still think upside is on the table. I still think Tesla has some room to go. And I do think we're going to see this thing in the 900s very, very soon. I mean, we're seeing lots of hype now. We might see a little FOMO take over, which is fear of missing out when lots of retail investors start getting in there. But just to draw this out real quick, let me just show you what I think may end up happening. So in terms of tomorrow, let me move the chart like this. And I'm only using the 5 minute candles just to draw this out for you. I know it doesn't, don't take too much meaning into that. It's just for me to draw this out. Let me make these a little bigger and then show you like this. So tomorrow when the market opens, all right, I think it's very likely we're going to see another big move. And as for Tesla, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing soars to like the 900. But as we touch 900, it is possible for us to see some resistance there. So Tesla might trade a little bit like this. And slowly, I think we're going to break out of 900 and start pushing up like this. Now, what could happen is once we get that break, this thing could continue with the squeeze like movement we've been seeing. So I want to see how this thing reacts to that 920, 925 range. And I do think Tesla's going to just continue to try to push through it. We're seeing lots of people getting excited, especially for the split and the annual meeting. So I'm not sure if we're going to break 925. I mean, it really depends on momentum. But if we manage to break that, this thing has that potential to push all the way to that mid $900 range. It could happen within 2 days from now. But I'm going to try to be a little bit conservative in making this estimate. I do think Tesla might get stopped around 930 and to trade sideways from there. Maybe decline a little bit as the day goes on, but kind of stay within this range throughout the day and get a pretty green close, closing on that 920 range. That's essentially what I'm predicting for this one. And I still think this thing has a little bit more room to continue going up. Now, like I said before, I mean, it's good to see the Tesla pushing up. It's good to see the market moving this way. But remember, Keep your emotions aside. All right. You're gonna get overwhelmed. You're going to feel very excited, and you could day trade this. You could scalp this. It's not necessarily, one of the most difficult things in the world. It's just that you have to be careful. You got to secure those profits when the time is right. Because if you keep holding on to the bag, eventually this could be very costly. Now, when it comes to buying shares, like I said before, I think there are going to be better dips to buy them at in the future. But if you're not sure about that, even if you were to buy around this area, even if you buy in the 800s, long term, that's still a great price because we know this thing has the potential to go to the thousands even after the stock split is done. It could still go back to the thousands over the next couple of years. I'm still very bullish. So I'm essentially predicting this, and I do think Tesla's set for some more bullish price action going into the week, but I am going to be very cautious because of what SPY might end up doing. If SPY gets a rejection off that 415 range, then the whole market could actually start to see somewhat of a rejection too. But as of right now, it's not really clear to really know exactly what SPY is going to do. I just think that Tesla does have some potential for more upside before that big rug pull comes. I know people don't like to hear about that rug pull. Remember, guys, there are many unknown catalysts in the market. We don't know what's going to happen with some global tensions. We don't know what's going on with, cases in China, for example. I'm just going to put some potential examples out there. We have the FOMC meeting coming. I mean, there's so many things out there that could act as negative catalysts. And it's really just a matter of interpretation for the markets. We had a negative GDP report, and the market just decided to not worry too much about that, and it just continued to rally, which is pretty interesting, despite the fact that we are showing signs of a growth recession. So the market is just, very capricious. It just interprets things in a very ambiguous way. It has different interpretations. So sometimes it'll fake you out. And my goal right now is just to inform you that, yeah, I see some upside short term for Tesla, but I do think as we approach the later weeks of August, I do see a rejection coming, and I do think it's going to come back down as with the entire market. We have a lot of gaps for all sorts of different stocks. If you look at the NASDAQ, it has gaps down there. I can actually pull that up real quick just to remind you guys about this. These gaps, like right here, we have a gap down in the NASDAQ that's going to take it down to 12,000. And let me actually see if there's another one down here, because I remember seeing one. Right here in the 11,000 range, there's another gap down here for the NASDAQ. For SPY, we have a ton of gaps. All right. Now, there are people out there that say these gaps don't have to get filled, this and that. And the truth is, yeah, I mean, there's not a 100% guarantee they will get filled, but we have a tendency of almost always doing that. All right. If I bring up the chart just like what I showed you guys in the previous video for Tesla, we tend to almost always fill these gaps historically, and it seems very likely that it's going to happen again. The market makers, the big institutions, the people that manipulate the markets, in my opinion, what they're doing is they want you to get excited. They want you to think the market's going to all-time highs. They want you to forget about the bear market. The market's very forgetful sometimes, and they're getting ready, in my opinion, to start filling these gaps maybe within the next couple of weeks. So right here, there's a gap down here for SPY, another one down here, another one down here. I'm not saying it's going to start tomorrow, like I said. I'm not saying it's going to start this week. It may take a few weeks before we get that big rejection, but I want to prepare you like now before anything. But until then, as of right now, I am still more bullish than bearish for the markets. I do think the SPY is going to be testing that 415 range where this EMA is. That's one of the most important levels that you got to look out for on the daily chart. So I do think SPY is going to test it. If we break it, that's going to be a very bullish signal. The market will have a lot more room to keep going from there. If we don't break it, it is possible for us to get rejected off this. So be prepared for that. As for Tesla, for the stock split, yeah, this thing is making a big move. It looks very nice. I do see a continuation happening. But remember, I don't know exactly when it's going to start. Next few weeks, I do expect a bit of a rejection to come. But until then, I still think we're going to push up a little bit more. So with that said, I know that that could be a little bit confusing for some people, but right now it does still look bullish. I do think this thing is going to trade between 900 and 925 very soon. And at the end of the day, I mean, Tesla's doing well. So just stay strong, remain calm, cool, and collected. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. And when you trade, watch out for that implied volatility crush. Watch out for, watch out for what your indicators are showing you. Watch your EMAs and just get ready because look, the market right now, in my opinion, isn't something I'm going to put 100% trust in just yet. I still think that the market has potential downside later on. Short term may be bullish, but just be prepared for this. But remember, the super long term, when the recovery comes, in my opinion, towards the end of this year, by the time we get to 2023, everything should improve. So just be patient, be strong, and don't let your emotions get the best of you. That's essentially what I'm telling you. Be ready, right? Big moves could come, but there will be fake outs. I really believe that. So I wish the best for you. Get ready, stay strong, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And I apologize for recording this video kind of late. I was away over the weekend, but I'm back. So take care. Peace out. Tesla to the moon. And I'll see you guys in the next one.